and welcome to another episode of the Tell Not Show. As always, we are your hosts. We have the wonderful Kirsha Fox, author of Son of Deception and the newly released The White Leaf Child. She's a homeschooling mom of four, gamer, and reader.
And my co-host is Julia J.K. Allen, editor, author, and author coach. She's a fantasy and horror author who likes to sprinkle magic on everything. Thanks so much for joining us.
And we're very excited to welcome our guest tonight.
Yes.
We have the authors Jeffrey Neil Kippel and Mindy Heather Blackstein.
They are a go-getting husband and wife team who are passionate about health, self-love, and inspiring people to embrace how they think, feel, act, look, function, and dream.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Welcome. Tell us a little bit about what got you started on your writing journey.
Writing journey started many moons ago when I was in my early teens or mid-teens, and I was inspired by the books, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And when that series ended, I kind of wanted the story to continue, so I started writing. And I came back to the book throughout my life. And Mindy and I worked together. We've been in the fitness and empowerment and wellness industries, and we sprinkled messages, as we learnt them along the way. And the book kind of just always sat as a project that was a work in process. And a few years ago, Mindy challenged me to get something finished that I was passionate about. I finished the book, and then Mindy came on as a development editor and did like a fantastic job. And it changed so that we were co-authors, and we completely rewrote the book in the last year and a half, really layering messages of empowerment and self-growth and self-love through humor. So the process started a long time ago, and it's always been sort of in the back burner until we decided, let's just put our full focus or an emphasis towards it.
Wonderful. So humor is not easy to write. So kudos on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about why you pick the genres you do write. So it's like comedy and sci-fi. Is that correct?
It's comedy and sci-fi, and I guess you could also class it as self-help.
So we started off as a sci-fi and comedy because that's what Jeff started writing about. And then when I came into the picture, by that time, we were both learning about empowerment because it was the main purpose of our journey for professional reasons to give back to the fitness world, to teach them empowerment. So then we decided to embed empowerment in it.
And then, sorry, did you have more?
Probably, but it's okay. I see you. So I'm good.
Well, the comedy, because it's great. It's easy to deliver a message of something that people may not want to hear or may not have that lesson. Through comedy, it kind of makes you look at things in a different way. And if you are really laughing out loud, you're in the moment. So it allows you, if you allow yourself to really get into that and enjoy it, you may be more open to seeing things in a different way. And the science fiction part is because anything's possible. So it allows you to open your imagination to a completely different way with made up words and weird planets and weird ways of saying things. Just makes it more fun.
Yeah, it is a lot more fun that way.
Yeah.
And then the comedy element, like you were saying, that's kind of difficult to embed. That's like the challenge of it. That's the strategy. We're like looking to see, can we make a joke within each paragraph, within every two lines, within every line, or like set up for one. And then where can we layer it in and add it in further on into the book? So it's a lot of fun writing.
Yeah.
Sounds like a blast. Yeah.
It's a very fun challenge. I've said it before, but I really love fiction's ability to hold a mirror up and show us deeper truths than just a straight, dry nonfiction text might. And then with the addition of like comedy, and I love books that have those underlying messages that, through the characters, you heal something within yourself. Those are the best sorts of books. And if you can get something that can make you both laugh and cry at the same time, those are just wonderful. So kudos to you. that's a very ambitious project.
Yeah.
And then I understand your first book just came out this month, right?
It did, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, we had the original book, and because we spent the last year and a half rewriting it, we changed the name, changed the cover, changed, added probably 25% more content in, and just relaunched it, just a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Oh, what an accomplishment, though.
Thank you.
All right. So what does your writing process look like? You've told us a little bit about, you've already told us a bit where you wrote it and then Mindy came in and made it made it a little bit bigger, a little bit better. You kind of took on the project together. But for like your next few books that I know you have in the works, like what does your process look like?
Go for it.
All right.
Yeah.
So Jeff's going to write it. It's generally his ideas to start off. He's got the adventures. Although lately I've been adding some insights and we've been talking about it more. But generally that's how it's been. It's been Jeff's ideas. He goes in and he writes it. Then over to Mindy and I Mindify it.
Wait, before that even, then I read it to you.
Oh yeah, this is new. We just started. This is
Yeah.
right. We just started doing this because it's actually more effective and it's a lot more fun.
Yeah, so then I read it to her, and we get to laugh at the jokes and stuff like that.
And then also, our jokes aren't funny, where we have to make it like add more. That's more my end.
And then, then Mindy then goes through and she edits it and adds, her brilliance to it. And when she's done, then she reads it to me.
Yeah.
And I see if it follows and flows like that.
And I read it in the character voices.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Oh, very nice.
I keep track of who's who, so it's just like different voices to show this is a different character.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have fun with it.
And then with the last book, and then once we've done the editing and re-editing and all that fun stuff, then it goes to the copy editor.
Yep.
When they're finished with it, then we both reread
Then
it.
I work with the copy editor and we go back and forth to make sure everything is kosher, good, and that we're happy with it. And then I'll double check with Jeff or just go ahead with her.
Yeah, and then when she's done, then we reread it to each other, and we also get it to our narrator, because things are specific more just to be heard rather than read, and we want to make sure that it does flow for the audience too. So that's the process in the last book.
Yep.
And that's what we're doing for the next ones.
We think.
Right. I find that the writing process kind of evolves every book that you write, every new project that you have, you kind of add or subtract from it. And so it's this constantly changing thing. But that sounds like such a fun process to read it aloud to each other, see if the jokes are landing and all of that. So.
Yep.
What do you think is the most important part of writing?
Imagining.
Yeah, I'd say imagining, like you just said. It's being the most important part of writing is allowing yourself to get into the space to allow the writing to happen. In my opinion, unless you're writing, this is for fiction. Obviously, nonfiction, you have to do your research and stuff like that. Even in fiction, you still have to do research. But for the most part, it's being able to get into that space where you can get into what an athlete would consider a flow state. That state where you're not thinking, you don't have your analytical mind turned on. It's your creative ability is expanding because you get yourself into the moment. You allow the imagination to take over, and just your hands typing are more of a conduit to what's coming to you. That to me, I think, is the most important part.
Yes. I like that state of mind quite a lot. When you can achieve it, you're just going.
Yeah.
Like your thoughts are just appearing on the page. You're not even aware of anything else.
Which is really cool because for me, I'm hearing the story for the first time. So I'm laughing. And then when I read to Mindy, she's laughing. Right? So I'm hearing it just like the reader would hear it before it's edited and re-edited and edited and edited.
Right.
I'm hearing it. So to me, the story's new. So it's fun. right?
Mm-hmm.
It's when you start to think, and then it changes the course of the way that evolvement occurs.
Right. I find that feeling of getting into that flow state is very addicting. And I think that's why we writers keep doing it, even though there's some other not so fun parts of writing.
Right.
I was gonna say, like, what a wonderful activity to do as a husband and wife, where you're so excited to present what you've written to her, and then she comes back and she's so excited to present it to you, and just with the additions back and forth, and you're both like living this book and improving it together. Like, that's just so amazing.
Yeah, it's cool because we have to like imagine together. So like we're coming into each other's imagination.
Yeah, you get to share that bright inner world with each other, which is
and then come to like we both agree, like, yeah, this is what happens, because like for everything that we're writing, there's a strategy and a system and a reason behind it. So it sounds like a story, it reads like a story, but there's like a deeper underlying theme.
Right. Oh, how fantastic!
Yeah. So, would you say that your stories are more character driven or more plot driven? Which helps your message come out better?
I think they're more character driven than plot driven. The plot are fun, ridiculous stories and things that they're getting into. It's the underlying character development, the awarenesses that they're having, the experiences that they're having that someone who's reading it or listening to it can take away from.
All right. I love the answers. Yeah. What do you feel maybe a lot of authors might neglect as they're writing?
I think that a lot of authors may feel like because writing is their job, it becomes like a work thing and it becomes like a stress. So they put stress on themselves to complete the job rather than recognizing that the way to do a job well is to get into that meditative state, that flow state, to allow that download and the creativity to come in and for you to just be in flow and present.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe they're not enjoying the process.
Yeah, they might forget to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Adding to what Mindy was saying, it takes you a bit out of the creative process when a lot of writers look at, I have a specific word count for today, and I need to do that.
Right.
And then you're not in a creative state. You're always trying to see where you're at with that. I know I found myself doing that at times where, I want to write this many words and I'm checking, but then you're out of creative process.
And that's how I discovered that that's like a stress that people put on themselves.
Yeah, like
right.
It's not needed, right? I remember reading something, I think this was from Stephen King, and I can't remember, in one of his books, I think it was called On Writing. And he talked about a technique of, write for an hour. Even if the idea is still flowing, stop. Let it flow and build on and build on. When you come back, and then every day, if you choose the same time and the same period that you're sitting down, it eventually is going to start, the downloads are going to happen during that time and while you're in that state or in that time period. But it's when you start analyzing and saying, 1,200 words today, okay, I'm at 673. Okay, what do I need next to add to this?
Right.
That it changes that process, I find.
That's a good point. Yeah. I think that we do put a lot of pressure on ourselves as writers to perform and do well, and rather than the creative rough draft, like it's rough for a reason, right? We call it that for a reason. So, just kind of letting yourself write poorly, it can sometimes be the best thing you can do. Yeah. So you've mentioned Stephen King, but we are curious who your favorite author is and what you think they do best.
For me, I would say I don't have a particular only favorite author. I like to read across all kinds of genres and a lot of mindfulness and empowerment books. So it's more, I enjoy the information that one is about advancing yourself, information about unleashing your inner superhero. And and yeah, that's where I do my most reading, and in just different science fictions, that
Right.
I don't have a particular, this is the only one, and I don't think you do either.
Yeah, well, usually I tend to go for like Jodi Picoult, and I'm not sure if that's
Oh, okay.
pronouncing her name right, but I like it because she's getting into the minds of people, and I like learning psychology.
Okay, very well.
So what do you think has been the most valuable thing that you've learned from developing your writing process? Where's the most growth, do you think?
Communication,
Mm-hmm.
and also really knowing what your unique talents and abilities are,
Oh, good.
instead of trying to be the everything for, like, if you're not a graphic artist, then maybe find someone else to do your cover. If you're not
Right.
editing,
It makes a difference.
That's very good advice. Yes.
it's being able to know, okay, to do something, you need a team to help make that work, and find the people who are experts in those areas in whatever way, so that you can have the right team around you.
Right. Right. No, that is very sage advice, because if you know kind of what you struggle with or are not as strong in, then you can always course correct for that, right? So, like for me, I write a lot of dialogue. It's just a wall of words, and there's nothing going on. We don't know what the characters are doing while they're talking. So, knowing that though, I'm able to go back and editing and be like, okay, let's add in everything the characters are doing while this conversation is happening and things like that. So, it's very good to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. Yeah.
Mhm.
If you could tell a new author one thing, what would you say to that?
What would you tell the author, Mindy?
Enjoy the process.
Yes.
Oh yeah, enjoy the process. It's true, because you're creating. So if you're not enjoying the what you're doing, it takes away from it.
Right. Right. It definitely does.
Yeah. They're not enjoying it. You have to really question what they're in it for.
Right. Right.
Usually not the money. But we all hope that our books make lots of money.
Right,
But, it can take a long time to build up to that, for sure.
Yeah, overnight successes are often years in the making, right? So,
And then it's instant.
yes. And
And unpredictable as well, sometimes.
right.
Chance. But what is chance but like being in the right place, doing the right thing at the right time, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. How do you make time for writing?
It's part of what we do, and our goal is really sharing with people information and inspiration and insights and different innovations, and that's what we've been doing in the fitness and wellness and empowerment space for the last 25 years or so. And a lot of it is being able to communicate a message. So writing and sharing is sort of what we do. So it's not make time for it. It's part of life.
We get inspired by an idea or like where we last left off, and we want to get back into it.
Oh, nice.
Like, here's an example. We were so right near us is this park, and we've been going on Sundays because they have these drum circles in the park. And at first,
nice.
I go into it. Mindy really was, because she wanted to explore music more, and but then I started to enjoy it also. But what I found is the last few times that we've gone, that somehow being in the energy of that and that creative space, some idea would come to me, and I would take out my phone and start writing. So it's just part of what we're doing and who we're being, as opposed to making time for it.
Right. Pure expression of creativity. I love that. Do you have a favorite part of writing?
Favorite part of writing? I think it's when I'm in a flow state with it.
Mhm.
when I'm laughing at the story as it's coming out on paper.
That's funny. And I was going to say similar to that, that for me, it's when I'm reading it back or listening to Alan Irving, the narrator, narrate it, and I'm laughing at my own jokes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Or
that is nice that you get the narrator's feedback and
Mhm.
interaction with the narrator, because a lot of times when you write humor, you have to wait till it's published and you get the reader feedback to see if it's funny or not, and that can be months in the waiting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is nice when you're reading your own writing and you're like, wow, this is good stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's a great
yeah,
feeling for
Yes.
sure.
yeah, when it makes him laugh and I know it was something that I wrote, I actually feel really proud.
Mhm.
Yeah, as you should. Yes, absolutely love that. Do you have a least favorite part of writing
Uh, I hate the editing process, but
then? Okay.
I'm learning to like it because Mindy helped me reframe that from, oh, I will not look at this again, to, okay, well, this is another opportunity to have another go at it. Is there a way to expand the
Yeah.
story? Is there a way to
Imagine more.
make something punch more, or imagine more, or something else? So, I did go through the process several
Right.
times, which I would have not done.
Right. But I love that reframing of this is something that feels tedious to it's an opportunity to improve it. So I really love that mindset of switching that thinking, because a lot of authors that we interview say that editing is probably their least favorite part, because it can be a lot to read and reread and keep
Yeah.
going through it. So I really love that mind frame.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's funny. And then on my part, my least favorite is when he used to say, "No, I don't want to edit this again. I don't want to read it." And then that
Right.
came up with, "Okay, we'll read it to each other," and it
Yeah.
what really well.
Yeah. No, that's a great
I totally
workaround.
understand. There comes a fatigue that, you know, from slogging through and slogging through and slogging through and looking at everything with a magnifying glass.
Right.
It kind of, it's not as much fun as
As
that creative
discovering.
process or the benefits of seeing it published and everyone's reading it and loving it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
On my end, that's my favorite part. I love
Mhm.
the editing process, and I'll reread it and reread it and reread
Mhm.
it. But it's only fun if he's on board to read the final product with
Right. A little bit of complaining can
me.
throw throw a wrench in the works for sure.
Yep.
All right. So you mentioned Douglas Adams. Do you have any other large influences on your writing?
The influences on our writing, I would say, is Douglas Adams, obviously, Monty Python, The Family Guy, The Simpsons. Even if I go back further, that's the Flintstones and
Right.
the Jetsons. Though those were some of the influences I had, yeah, that sort of made its way through, and the rest was really from uh, people that we've connected with, different experts in different industries, from nutrition to superfoods to mindfulness to exploring the
Self-love.
human potential to self-love.
Right.
So those became influences of content. But the gist of it was the funny, quirky, wacky
Right.
stuff of Monty Python and those different other British comedies.
Right. And now for something completely different.
I love that you're probably not doing humor that's going to tear people down. You're building them up.
Right.
That's
Right.
even trickier.
And that's part of what changed from when Jeff wrote it as a teen to when we came back in and wrote it
Mm.
to actually empower people and help them feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It helps
I love
things.
for sure.
just a tad.
Right. We always punch up and never down. Have you guys had problems with writer's block? And if you have had writer's block before, how do you deal with it?
I don't really look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not supposed to be writing now and I'm not being guided to it, then I'm supposed to be doing something else, and I'll focus on the other aspects of the book, the marketing, or
Mm-hmm.
videos that we can do to promote or share what's going on, or do interviews or other things. I think it's a matter of getting into the right state, to being
Mm-hmm.
dating, to to breathing and just allowing you to get into that right state.
Okay. So if you're not feeling it that day, don't sweat it. It'll come back, right?
Yeah. There's plenty of other things to focus on. Like you're saying, as the business of authoring is oftentimes just as much work as writing. So
It sure is.
yeah, I know, right? There's lots of other stuff to do.
So what would you say has been your most significant writing victory so far?
Well, one of the things that we're wanting to empower within the book and within a companion community that we're creating is this whole idea of manifestation and attracting what you want and dreaming your dreams. So we dreamt our dreams to see ourselves as like top sellers and bestsellers, and then we put the book up and suddenly we were #1 in a whole bunch of categories.
Oh, yay.
And we were ranked in the top 20 with the people who inspired the book.
John Cleese was in the same list of top 20.
From Python.
And
Stephen
Stephen Fry, the narrator for The Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yes.
And Seinfeld. And I can't remember what else, but it was
David Spade.
Like that was so cool to be in that list.
Yeah.
We made it to the #1 in Amazon Canada. We made it to #1 bestseller in 4 categories: comedy, science fiction, self-help and psychology, humor, and a really cool category called happiness.
Yay!
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That is quite a victory. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, congratulations on all of those great Amazon standings. And yeah, what good company to keep, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. What are you reading now?
I am not reading anything in particular other than research. Our book 3 we're doing in a really cool, creative way, which requires some research. So I'm spending time doing that.
Yeah.
Do you have any Do you have any writing advice that you really isn't useful for you, that you wouldn't recommend other people, that maybe you hear kind of commonly given?
Yeah, commonly given. I think we talked about this a little bit earlier. Commonly given is people aspiring to finish a certain number of words in a day.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Using programs and software that track your words so you can see like word for word where you're at your target goal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's to me that's not the right approach.
That's a distraction for you, as you said.
Yeah.
It moves you from your right brain to your left brain, and now you're in analytics instead of creativity.
I find the same can happen when people are editing before they're done writing. Because I always say, like, when you put on your editing hat, then it's very much analytical and critical and all of those stuff, which kind of seem antithetical to creativity sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where it's part of my writing process to edit as I go. So.
But that's one of the reasons why we do this show, is because there's as many different ways to write as there are writers. And so we love seeing everyone's different side and how they write in their process and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everyone is going to experience that from their own model of the world, what works for them.
Absolutely.
How they enjoy that process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we like to ask that question a lot, because somewhere out there's going to be a writer going, "Oh, wow, you mean I don't have to pay attention to my word count? It's okay to let go of that."
Yeah.
Or they go, "Oh, I guess that is a bit of a distraction for me," or like it is perhaps putting pressure in the wrong place, where they don't need it. So thank you. Yes.
Yeah, we love that. We do have a little bit of time, so if you wanted to tell us a little bit about the books, The Ridiculous, and just tell us a little bit about the story world.
I can't see it. We got that new thing today.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to grab my phone for this, and the reason is that we had hired somebody to write the description.
Oh, yes.
In a whole new way. So after they did their review and everything, this is what they had. And I thought it was really good because it was succinct. So I'm just going to read it if that's cool. So Serbanand is a space nomad. Jim is a teen earthling. Switching bodies, chaotic adventures ensue. Will they claim new lives or return to their homes? After a bizarre series of events, Serbanand finds himself drinking the Rhino Kicker in a remote space tavern. As the universe seems to have taken a personal interest in complexifying his life, of course, his moment of peace is interrupted by linguistically advanced plants, a creature talking out of its foot, yes, you read that correctly, and ultimate chaos. Jim is just a regular Earth-dwelling teen. When he and Serbanand switch bodies, they each embark on life-changing, mind-blowing new adventures. Join our heroes as they navigate wacky, intergalactic absurdities, embark on snack-themed adventures, encounter head-scratching creatures, and learn surprisingly profound lessons about life, all while giving you a good chuckle along the way. The Ridiculous is a hilarious, irreverent sci-fi novel perfect for fans of The Hitchhiker's Guide and teens of the 70s and 80s. So order your copy today. So I had to read that because we just got it today.
Yeah, very well put. I really enjoyed that blurb. Yeah. So this is something you've been working on since you were a teenager. So would you say that it took you how many years to write?
35.
Ah!
So that part of what you said of or what you said, one of us, all of us said it in some way of it's a long process, and then there's like that overnight success type that happens, but it's been like years and years and years in the planning working.
Right, yes. Oh, how wonderful. And congratulations again on your accomplishment of finishing a book and starting another one. That's so great.
Together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So why don't you let our audience listening along at home know where they can find you online and learn more about you and your book?
So you can find us online at ridiculousnovels.com. Our books are on Amazon, Kindle Unlimited. The audiobook will be coming out in about a month from now. It's the first book is out. Book 2 is actually being written or being edited right now, and book 3 is being written. So it is a trilogy or beyond. And we can be found on social media at 2 different handles at Hey Meinhardt for Mindy and at Jeffrey Kippel for me. But we're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, all the places. And our website again is ridiculousnovels.com, and you can find out more information, see things like this, and learn a little bit about our background. And we're also launching a companion community to the book that's all about inspiration and information and insight to help people love better how they think and feel, act, and look and dream. So you can go to unleashyoursuperhero.com, and you could actually get yourself on a list so that you're notified as soon as the site launches.
Oh, wonderful. I love that idea of building a community to go along with the wonderful messages in your book. So thank you so much for joining us for this interview today. You've been wonderful to have on.
Yes, it was very nice to meet you both.
Oh, thank you. You too.
And thank you to everyone who's listening along at home. Remember to catch the next episode when it releases on Friday. And remember, there's more than one way up a mountain. If you are interested in being on the show, you can find us on social media at The Tellnut Show, or email us at thetellnutshow@gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful night.
Thanks again for listening. If you enjoyed the show, consider subscribing and liking. We appreciate all the support. Julia J.K. Allen is an author, editor, and coach, and can be found at hijinksrudder.com.
Kirsha Fox is an author, avid reader, gamer, and mother to 4, and you can find her at kirshafox.com. Thanks, and see you next time.